Few in Hollywood have experienced as many facets of the entertainment industry as Clint Eastwood, whose journey, from TV cowboy to acclaimed movie star and Oscar-winning director, reads like a Hollywood script filled with twists, challenges, and remarkable achievements that span over 7 decades. Born on May 31st, 1930, in San Francisco during the height of the Great Depression, Eastwood's early life was marked by economic struggles and frequent relocations within California as his family sought better opportunities amid widespread poverty and social upheaval. He attended various schools, and as a student he struggled academically and demonstrated a streak of rebellion, which culminated in his departure from Piedmont High School before ultimately graduating from Oakland Technical High School in 1949. After finishing high school, Eastwood's life was far from the glitz and glamour he would later embody. Instead, he held a wide range of odd jobs that included lifeguard duties, newspaper delivery, grocery store clerk work, firefighting, caddying at golf courses, logging, and hay baling on farms. These humble beginnings provided him with a diverse set of experiences and a grounded work ethic that would quietly inform his later performances and directorial style, instilling in him a rugged authenticity and an appreciation for hard work that resonated throughout his film. In 1950, Eastwood was drafted into the U.S. Army during the Korean War and was stationed at Fort Ord, California, where he served as a swimming instructor, a role far removed from Hollywood's bright lights, but one that allowed him to develop discipline and leadership skill. During his military service, he was encouraged by fellow soldiers with acting aspirations to pursue a career in entertainment, planting the seed for his future endeavors. Upon his honorable discharge in 1953, Eastwood enrolled at Los Angeles City College, initially intending to study business, but his interests gradually shifted toward drama and acting, inspired by the vibrant cultural scene of Los Angeles. This pivot led to a contract with Universal Studios in 1954, which paid him a modest $75 weekly, a small but significant step into the film industry. At Universal, Eastwood appeared in a succession of small, often uncredited roles in low-budget B-movies, such as Revenge of the Creature, which was part of the popular Creature from the Black Lagoon series. Despite these opportunities, his time at Universal was short-lived. After approximately 18 months, the studio dropped him for superficial reasons, including his prominent Adam's apple, a chipped tooth, a slow and deliberate speech pattern, and a perceived lack of attentiveness during audition. Ironically, many of these very traits, his deliberate, measured speech and rugged appearance, would become iconic components of his screen persona and contribute to his enduring appeal. After being let go by Universal, Eastwood faced a difficult period characterized by uncertainty and financial hardship. He took on various odd jobs, including digging swimming pools in the San Fernando Valley, while continuing to pursue acting opportunities wherever possible. His persistence paid off as he secured minor television roles on popular shows like Highway Patrol, Death Valley Days, and Maverick Got Up. These appearances, though modest, showcased his rugged charm and helped him build a foothold in the industry. This challenging period of his life highlights the arduous and often unpredictable path Eastwood traveled before eventually rising to become a Hollywood legend, demonstrating resilience, adaptability, and an unwavering commitment to his craft that would define his extraordinary career. He had a respectable role in a film called The First Traveling Sales with Carol Channing. But unfortunately, the movie flopped, and things didn't look promising for his career. In the world of big-budget films, the stakes are incredibly high. These movies often need to be among the top 5 highest-grossing films ever made just to break even, let alone turn a profit. After that setback, Eastwood's career took a turn with the Western series Rawhide, which marked one of those almost too perfect Hollywood moments. While visiting a friend at CBS and walking down a long studio hallway, an executive suddenly appeared, saw Eastwood, and asked if he was an actor. It turned out the network was casting for a Western series called Rawhide and needed someone for the second lead. That's how the iconic character Rowdy Yates was born. Rawhide premiered on January 9th, 1959, and quickly became a major hit, running for 7 years and a total of 217 episodes. For the first time, Eastwood had steady employment and a regular paycheck. The premiere episode ranked in the top 20 of the Nielsen ratings. The first season included 22 episodes, while seasons 2 through 7 each had 30 episodes, resulting in a grueling production schedule with mostly weekly filming, and only a 3 to 4 month break between seasons. Despite the work, Eastwood was not especially fond of his character. Rowdy was supposed to be a young and somewhat clumsy figure, but Eastwood was nearly 30 and aware that while the role kept him employed, it wasn't the kind of part that would catapult him to stardom. The show itself was notable for tackling controversial subjects for its time, including episodes about morphine addiction, racism against Mexican drovers, interactions with Native Americans, and the lingering effects of the Civil War. Nevertheless, Eastwood's character remained somewhat one-dimensional. Rawhide had a folk hero quality, with a memorable theme song, featuring lyrics by Ned Washington and music by Dmitri Tiomkin, sung by Frankie Lane, and conducted by a young John Williams, then credited as Johnny Williams. Filming took place at Universal International Studios in Hollywood, the same studio that had fired Eastwood just a few years prior. During his time on Rawhide, Eastwood began to develop an interest in the filmmaking process, paying close attention to how scenes were composed and thinking about. He had specific ideas about a particular stampede scene and even asked Eric Fleming, the show's lead, if he could try directing an episode. Fleming was supportive, but the producers were less enthusiastic. They allowed Eastwood to direct promotional trailers for the upcoming season, but never a full episode. Still, this experience planted the seed for his future behind-the-camera ambitions. Then came an Italian detour that changed everything. In 1964, during a break from Rawhide, Eastwood received an offer that seemed modest at best. An unknown Italian director named Sergio Leone. The pay was low, about $15,000, and the project carried no prestige. But Eastwood was intrigued by the script. The character was a stark contrast to Rowdy Yates, a grizzled, morally ambiguous man without a name or illusions about the world. Both James Coburn and Charles Bronson had turned down the role, which wasn't seen as a career maker. Still, Eastwood took a chance, and A Fistful of Dollars transformed his career. Since Leone didn't speak English and Eastwood didn't speak Italian, Eastwood struck a deal with the producer that he could rewrite the dialogue himself. The original translations from Italian to English were awkward, and Eastwood knew they needed improvement. This gamble paid off and set the stage for his iconic rise in Hollywood. He noted that while the stories were solid and engaging, the dialogue often suffered from awkward translations from Italian to English, which lessened the emotional impact and authenticity of some scenes, making certain exchanges between characters feel unnatural and forced. These issues made character interactions seem stilted and somewhat disconnected, hindering the immersive experience that the films otherwise delivered through their strong narratives and vivid atmospheric visuals. Working with Sergio Leone was a stark contrast to Eastwood's previous fast-paced television work on Rawhide, which prioritized efficiency, quick turnarounds, and straightforward storytelling over artistic precision or extensive retakes. Leone's meticulous and exacting directing process involved numerous reshoots to perfect scenes, often requiring actors to repeat takes dozens of times in order to capture the exact mood, subtle nuance, or intensity he envisioned for each moment. This slower, more detail-focused approach frequently clashed with Eastwood's instinctive, spontaneous style, but ultimately resulted in a groundbreaking Western that masterfully blended Leone's operatic and highly stylized visuals and epic, sprawling storytelling with Eastwood's laconic, understated act. A Fistful of Dollars wasn't released in the United States until 1967. It quickly made Eastwood internationally famous, catapulting him into the spotlight and leading to his starring roles in two more Leone films. For a Few Dollars More, 1965, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, 1966. Each film growing increasingly complex, refined, and ambitious in scope. Eastwood's iconic poncho costume became a powerful symbol of his enigmatic, man-with-no-name character, embodying rugged individualism, stoic coolness, and an ambiguous morality that resonated with audiences worldwide. When these spaghetti westerns premiered in the U.S., American audiences initially hesitated at Eastwood's unconventional and minimalist style, as well as the genre's gritty, morally complex storytelling. But the film's bold innovations and distinct aesthetic would go on to redefine the Western genre for decades to come. In 1967, Eastwood founded Malpaso Productions to create films that seemed bigger and more ambitious than their budgets suggested, marking a new chapter in his career as a producer and creative force. Its first major release, Hang 'Em High, 1968, reintroduced Eastwood's Man with No Name persona to American viewers, setting a box office record for United Artists and demonstrating his wide appeal. Critics praised his intense, authentic performance and the film's gritty realism, solidifying his status as a major star in Hollywood. Even before Hang 'Em High debuted, Eastwood was working on Coogan's Bluff with Universal, which further established his reputation and earned him over $1 million, cementing his place as a leading man in the industry. In the early 1970s, Eastwood showcased his versatility and range in films like Two Mules for Sister Sarah and Kelly's Heroes, navigating various genres while maintaining his signature rugged style and screen presence. His growing influence extended beyond acting when President Nixon appointed him to the National Council on the Arts, highlighting his rising cultural prominence and recognition as an important figure in American entertainment. By then, he was America's top box office draw, a remarkable rise from his early struggles with odd jobs, obscurity, and modest beginnings. In 1971, Eastwood made his directorial debut with Play Misty for Me, a psychological thriller set in Carmel, California, which critics praised for his smooth and confident transition behind the camera, noting his skill at building tension, creating suspense, and crafting compelling, character-driven stories. That same year, he took on a role that would define his legacy as an enduring American cinema icon, shaping a persona and body of work that continues to influence filmmakers and audiences around the world to this day. In the iconic film Dirty Harry, directed by Don Siegel, San Francisco Police Inspector Harry Callahan became a cultural phenomenon, a loose cannon cop who flagrantly ignored rules, embodying a gritty, no-nonsense approach that resonated deeply with both audiences and critics alike. This character helped create a new genre blending crime drama with intense action and morally complex characters navigating a corrupt and often unforgiving world. The movie earned widespread acclaim for its gripping story, fast-paced direction, and Clint Eastwood's charismatic, stoic performance, cementing his status as a leading man in Hollywood. Dirty Harry's success spawned 4 sequels: Magnum Force, 1973, The Enforcer, 1976, Sudden Impact, 1983, directed by Eastwood, and The Deadpool, 1988, each exploring new facets of the character's personality and ethical dilemmas. Throughout the 1970s, Eastwood acted in and directed westerns like Joe Kidd, 1972, High Plains Drifter, 1973, and The Outlaw Josie Wales, 1976, showcasing his evolving style marked by stark visuals, minimal storytelling, and complex characters, solidifying his reputation as a serious and innovative filmmaker. The Outlaw Josie Wales also marked his first collaboration with actress and partner Sandra Rawhide, whose involvement added a fresh dynamic to the production, and the film was praised for its nuanced portrayal of a lone gunfighter blending gritty realism with mythic undertones and subtle emotional depth. In 1974, Eastwood expanded his range with Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, an action comedy mixing humor, camaraderie, and heist thrills, demonstrating his ability to balance levity with suspenseful storytelling. In 1977, The Gauntlet reunited him with Rawhide in an action thriller combining intense sequences with emotional weight and character development. Escape from Alcatraz, 1979, directed by Siegel, featured Eastwood as Frank Lee Morris in a tense prison escape tale, now regarded as a genre classic for its meticulous detail and sustained suspense. Surprisingly, Eastwood ventured into comedy with Every Which Way But Loose, 1978, about a trucker and bare-knuckle fighter with his pet orangutan. Despite mixed reviews, it became his biggest box office hit and remains highly successful when adjusted for inflation. Its sequel, Any Which Way You Can, 1980, continued this blend of action and humor, broadening Eastwood's appeal to a wider audience. By the 1980s, Eastwood was a Hollywood institution and skilled director known for nuanced, provocative projects. He returned to westerns with Pale Rider, 1985, a new mythic, quasi-religious western that opened Cannes and stood out as an ambitious, successful film blending supernatural elements with classic tropes. In 1986, he starred in Heartbreak Ridge as a tough Marine sergeant preparing troops for Grenada, combining humor, grit, and patriotism, reflecting the era's politics and military themes. His directorial range broadened with Bird, 1988, a jazz biopic of saxophonist Charlie Parker, starring Forrest Whitaker. As a jazz enthusiast and pianist, Eastwood crafted a respectful tribute blending musical performance and storytelling, though it wasn't a commercial hit despite critical praise. That year, he also produced a documentary on the Thelonious Monk titled Straight, No Chaser, reflecting his passion for jazz and complex artistic figures. In 1990, Eastwood took on White Hunter, Black Heart, adapting Peter Viertel's novel, inspired by his experiences with John Huston on The African Queen. Eastwood portrayed Huston with nuanced insight, capturing his ruggedness, obsession, and genius. Though not commercially successful, the film showed Eastwood's ambition to explore filmmaking's darker, introspective side, delving into psychological complexities of artistic creation and genius. In 1986, Clint Eastwood took a surprising detour from his Hollywood persona by running for mayor of Carmel-by-the-Sea, California, motivated by his dissatisfaction with the town's zoning laws, especially those impacting property owners and businesses. He won the election, served a 2-year term during which he successfully revised the regulations and then chose not to seek re-election. This episode was quintessential Eastwood. Identify a problem, address it decisively, and then move on. Although his political career was brief, it was notably effective. The early 1990s marked a high point in Eastwood's filmmaking with the release of Unforgiven in 1992, a revisionist western that examined the life of an aging gunfighter, reluctantly drawn back into violence. Eastwood not only directed but also starred in the film, which garnered 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, while he himself was nominated for Best Actor. Critics who had long dismissed him as merely an action star were compelled to reassess his talents, as the film consistently appeared on year-end top 10 lists. Both the National Society of Film Critics and the Los Angeles Film Critics Association honored Unforgiven with Best Picture awards and bestowed Eastwood with Best Director accolades, elevating his status to that of one of America's premier filmmakers. In 1993, he portrayed a Secret Service agent protecting the president in the Line of Fire, followed in 1995 by The Bridges of Madison County, a romantic drama starring Meryl Streep that revealed a more nuanced and sensitive side of Eastwood's acting that audiences hadn't seen before. He described this subtlety as a kind of internal voice guiding him, saying, "There's a little guy right inside the back there, and he says, 'Don't do that. I don't have a lot of brains, but I have a good gut feeling.'" The late 1990s and early 2000s brought mixed results. Films such as Absolute Power, 1997, Shrew. However, Space Cowboys, 2000, which starred Eastwood alongside Tommy Lee Jones, Donald Sutherland, and James Garner as retired engineers, launched into space, did reasonably well. Then came another pivotal moment in 2003 when Eastwood directed Mystic River, a dark crime drama featuring Sean Penn, Tim Robbins, and Kevin Bacon, which explored themes of murder, vigilante, and sexual. The film was critically acclaimed, winning 2 Academy Awards, Penn for Best Actor, and Robbins for Best Supporting Actor, making it the first film since Ben-Hur in 1959 to win both acting categories. Eastwood received nominations for Best Director and Best Picture, and the National Society of Film Critics named him Best Director of the Year. The following year, he directed Million Dollar Baby, a boxing drama starring Hilary Swank and Morgan Freeman, which won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actress for Swank, and Best Supporting Actor for Freeman. At 74, Eastwood became the oldest person ever to win the Best Director Oscar. In 2006, he undertook an ambitious dual project with Flags of Our Fathers and Letters from Iwo Jima, companion films portraying the Battle of Iwo Jima from American and Japanese perspectives, respectively, with the later earning him another Best Director nomination. In 2008, he directed and starred in Gran Torino as Walt Kowalski, a Korean War veteran and retired auto worker. The film opened to a $30 million weekend in January 2009, making Eastwood the oldest leading man to top the box office. Gran Torino eventually grossed over $268 worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing film of his career. Eastwood continued to work steadily through the 2010s, directing J. Edgar in 2011, with Leonardo DiCaprio portraying FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover, and in 2014, he directed American Sniper, the story of Navy SEAL Chris Kyle. The film became the highest-grossing domestic release of the year and received 6 Oscar nominations. In 2016, he directed Sully, which tells the story of Captain Chesley Sullenberger's emergency landing on the Hudson River, with Tom Hanks starring in the lead role. The film earned over $240 worldwide. In 2018, at the age of 88, Eastwood returned to acting with The Mule, directing himself as a 90-year-old horticulturist who becomes a drug courier. This film grossed $174 million. Richard Jewell followed in 2019, depicting the story of a security guard wrongly suspected in the 1996 Olympic Park bombing. Then came Cry, Macho in 2021, with Eastwood now over 90, directing himself as a former rodeo star seeking redemption in Mexico. Released during the pandemic, the film struggled at the box office, earning only about $16.50 million globally against a $33 million budget. At Warner Brothers, executives began to question their relationship with Eastwood. In a leaked conference call, CEO David Zaslav reportedly said, "We don't owe anyone any favors," despite Eastwood having given the studio many hits over the years and never delivering a movie late or over budget. Eastwood reflected, "I've been lucky enough to work in a career that I've enjoyed, a job that I've enjoyed, and a lot of people can't say that." In 2024, at age 94, Eastwood directed what might be his final film, Juror Number 2, a legal thriller starring Nicholas Hoult, Toni Collette, and J.K. Simmons. The film premiered at Effie Fest on October 27, 2024, but Warner Brothers gave it a peculiar release, opening it in fewer than 50 theaters domestically. For a filmmaker who had partnered with the studio for over 50 years, this was a disappointing treatment. Critics praised the film, awarding it a 92% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. In France, where Eastwood is revered, the film grossed over $3 million in a single weekend, and it received a wide release in the United Kingdom, with over 300 screens. However, in America, most audiences couldn't see it, even if they wanted to. The National Board of Review named it one of the top 10 films of 2024. Eastwood has never officially announced his retirement. When asked about it in 2021, he said he would be open to making another movie if the story and idea were fun to him, and he added that he keeps directing simply because he enjoys it. Cast members from Juror Number 2 mentioned that Eastwood was looking for other projects during production delays caused by the SAG-AFTRA strikes. Over his 40 films as a director, Eastwood developed a distinctive working style. He is known for shooting quickly, often finishing ahead of schedule and under budget, rarely allowing more than a couple of takes, trusting his actors to be prepared from day one. He described his approach as being a fly on the wall, showing the film exactly as written on the page. While this efficiency sometimes works against him, it more often results in focused, powerful film. Throughout his career, Eastwood has exhibited a skeptical view of institutions, whether portraying corrupt police forces in Changeling, media manipulations in Sully and Richard Jewell, or government failures in various other films. He has consistently questioned authority. Looking back at Eastwood's career, what stands out is how unlikely the whole journey was. The studio that once fired him for talking too slowly later paid him millions. The low-budget Italian westerns few wanted turned him into an international star. The TV Cowboy evolved into one of the most respected directors in American cinema. He transformed from being seen merely as an action star to winning multiple Academy Awards, and remains one of the rare individuals who have succeeded at the highest levels, both as an actor and a director. John Wayne, Gary Cooper, Spencer Tracy, James Stewart, and Humphrey Bogart never directed feature films, but Clint Eastwood did, and excelled. He directed across genres like westerns, thrillers, comedies, romances, war films, biopics, and dramas, often adding a unique personal touch. He maintained creative control through his production company, working with top actors over generations to realize his vision. His honors include the FI Life Achievement Award, 1996, the Stanley Kubrick Britannia Award, 2006, and the National Medal of Arts, 2010, the U.S.'s highest artistic honor. Whether Juror Number 2 is his final project or not, Eastwood's legacy is firmly established, having outlasted the old studio system, critics, and shifting tastes. From swimming pool digger to two-time Oscar-winning director, his journey is truly inspiring. If you enjoyed Eastwood's story, please like and subscribe for more entertainment history. Thank you for supporting this channel.